breathe in, breathe out.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Black Women Speak. I am Giselle Shapiro, the founder and CEO of the Black Women Speak movement, the network, the upcoming book, and yes, we are focusing on the Black Women Speak book series. I'm also senior producer of the Black Women Speak network. And I'll tell you, it is with great honor and pleasure that I introduce you to Barbara Alexander. She goes by the pseudonym Tanook. How are you today, Tanook?
I'm just fine, Giselle. How about yourself?
I am fantastic. I'll tell you, audience, Tanook is a phenomenal sister. She has the courage of a lioness. She's an award-winning producer. She's an educator, and she is an incredible writer. And I'm so happy that she's one of our co-authors in the book, Black Women Speak. It's time we tell our stories. How has life been for you, Tanook, since with the state of our country right now?
Well, I tell you, it has been very interesting for me because of my age. I'm supposed to be shut down with this pandemic. And I have found it to be interesting for me because it has caused me to do more reading, become more involved with my house, getting rid of things that I don't need. In other words, the impact is great for me based on the deaths and the cases that we have just right here in the United States.
Yes.
I find from, and because of the pandemic, and like I said, it has allowed me to really think about this, what's going on in the world today. And for me, I recognize, Giselle, my opinion, and I feel very strongly about this, is that the deaths that are occurring in the United States, the majority of the people who are dying are minorities. This is Black people, and this is pure genocide, so far as I'm concerned. Pure genocide. And there's nothing being done about it. Not only has it impacted me as an elder, looking at my family, I'm saying, what do the people behind me have to look forward to?
Right. Yeah,
what do they have to look forward to?
Yeah.
How do I continue to share the wisdom that I have with them as to how to survive?
Yeah.
As a Black person, period.
Yes.
How do you survive?
Absolutely. Well,
and so with this pandemic, it's even worse, you know? And as you said earlier, I mean, every day we look up and a Black life is lost. So what's happening right now in the United States is horrible. What's happening in the world is horrible. I kind of feel like that the earth is tilted on its axis right now. There is, I don't want to use the word trouble. There is something going on that is not normal. And and I feel that it's all dealt within, I don't want to say dealt, it's all based on the universe.
Yeah, we're going through some pretty heavy times right now, and we will see how this ends up. And I'm just staying as positive as I can, you know, and go within. That's what I've been hearing from a lot of women that I've spoken to. Go deeper inside yourself.
Well, you have to go deeper inside, and you must stay positive, because you have to create that positive inner energy to maintain and stay as calm as you can.
Absolutely.
Dealing with what we have to deal with.
And we're dependent on each other too. I'm sorry for interrupting you, Tanook, but
no problem.
we will move on to our next question. However, just to shed some light, the younger people are looking at us. They're looking to us. You know, they pretty much understand what's going on, but they still look to us for our wisdom. And that's why I'm so happy to share your story in the book. And speaking of your story, it's called Prelude to your memoirs, right?
Right.
And the first story that you're sharing is called Whispers from God. Why did you give it that title?
Well, I gave it that title. I was actually writing on my memoirs, and I was thinking about how I was going to title that chapter. And when I recognized what I was going to write about within that chapter, and I said to myself, now, how did I actually handle all of this?
Right.
And I was reading, I can't remember what it was I was reading, but it had some interesting scriptures within this reading. And I kept reading this and I kept saying, oh, then it just came. It just came.
I get it. That is beautiful.
It just came. And I said, okay.
Yes.
And from that point on, Whispers from God, just within the past 3 days, I have been reading some spiritual literature, and lo and behold, the word whispers is throughout this one particular area that I'm reading in this book, which validated,
absolutely,
was my validation.
Beautiful.
My validation.
I love it. I love it. And tell me, Tanook, what do you want the readers to learn from the stories that you share in your chapter?
Well, I would like for them to, let's see. Let me see, Giselle. What did I really say here? I really would like for them to know that no matter the circumstance that one has to endure, they can get through it. They can get through it every season, every season in our lives. Excuse me for moving. Every season in our lives, Giselle, serves a purpose.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And to remember, I want women to remember that we are conquerors. We can survive. We are conquerors and can overcome any obstacle. And I do mean any obstacle. As long as we continue to listen to his whispers.
Amen.
Understanding that as long as you, and I tell you, he will speak to you because I've heard it. I'm a living witness. I've heard it.
Yes.
And I feel so strongly about it. And I share it with people. And sometimes, Giselle, just what you just asked, what I want women to learn is to also understand that our difficulties and our hardships, we can endure.
Yes.
And in order to endure, that will be our pathway to victory.
Oh, amen. Yes.
That will be our pathway to victory. Because we're constantly listening to the natural mystic. Natural mystic talks. He whispers. And it flows. And it flows. And I want women to understand no matter what they're going through, there is a rainbow. There is a rainbow. And we create that rainbow by staying positive, staying focused, loving ourselves, and understanding we are worthy. We are unique creatures created by the fabulous Creator.
Yes.
And when we recognize our self-worth as Black women, we can help not only our race, but we can help other women, because believe me, other women are experiencing some of the same things we are.
Absolutely.
And so I think about, Giselle, I think about your International Black Women's Group. And that's amazing to me, because when I was working on my chapter, and then after I recognized you had announced the International Black Women's Group, I thought about how interesting it would be for us as Black women to share our testimonies, because our testimonies might help somebody else in another country.
Mm-hmm.
They might see it one way, but when they hear our story, they'll go, oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yes.
I can use that too.
We're just spreading that net as wide as we can, because we have so many sisters to help. I swear, Tanook, don't worry.
Yes,
We're taking this train all over the world.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
Good.
Hey, I got news for you, Giselle. I'll be right along with
Oh,
you
no.
guys, even if I have to have a little scooter to
I see you, girl. And tell me, what compelled you to be in this historical book, Tanook?
What compelled me, first of all, it was the title.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I have something to say.
Yes, you do.
I have something to share.
Mm-hmm.
And perhaps this will help somebody else get through the challenges and lead themselves toward peace.
Yes.
Peace is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Peace and time. As I said before, time is the most precious commodity that we have. So take advantage of that time from a positive perspective to help others.
Yes.
To help others.
Yes.
And this is the reason why I wanted to write in this book, because I recognize that what Black women were going to put in this book was going to be to help others.
Yes.
And you see, that's part of what Christ has asked us to do, is to help others.
Absolutely. That's what we're here for. Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're here for, you see. Mm-hmm. So it's beautiful. It's a marvelous experience for me, Giselle. Let me say that.
It's mine too. It's like, oh my God, I get this beautiful woman, knowledgeable sister that I've known for 20 years.
Oh my God.
And to have her on video, this will last forever. And it's like, oh, what a pleasure. What a pleasure, girl.
It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure, and it is a pleasure. I mean, when I look at the play North on South Central, I think about all of the people who were in it, and I look back and I say, my God, what a wonderful experience that I had with writing, being a co-writer of that play, as well as mounting it, and all the people that were in it, and all of the singers. And Giselle, I just have to say it again, you did a great job at Satin Dawn.
Thanks. Just for everyone who don't know and are watching this, yes, Tanook was one of a trio that was the part of the producers, and they're award-winning producers for this musical about jazz in the 30s, 40s, 50s called North on South Central Avenue. I was one of the cast. My name was Satin Doll in the play, and I was a jazz singer in the house jazz singer. Anyway, it was an incredible run because the play lasted years in the Los Angeles area. That was wonderful, and thank you so much for all that you gave to that piece, because it was historical and award-winning by the NAACP Theater Awards. So, Tanook, what are your thoughts on racism and being a Black woman?
My thought on racism, as I said before, there's definitely systemic racism. I have experienced it personally. I grew up the majority of my life in a segregated town, went to segregated schools, was looked down upon because I was Black. And the segregation was such an impact on me that as I grew up and moved away from Houston into integrated cities that I lived in, I found that it was so easy for me to pick up the subtle racism as opposed to others who were natives of that city.
Yes. I'm from Southern California, so I know.
I had an experience with that. And when I was teaching, and my two coworkers, we were walking down the hall, and this particular gentleman, Caucasian teacher, made a comment. They didn't understand it, but I knew exactly where he was coming from because I had that experience. He compared us to the two Goldust, the Goldust twins, and nobody knew. They didn't know what Goldust twins meant. Goldust twins, that was a soap powder, and they had a little girl on there, and they called her a pickaninny. But when I look back on it, they really didn't know what they were doing because this young little girl had these she had knots, and that is a hairstyle in Africa. People who put the soap powder together, that was a racial slur towards Black people.
Oh my!
In the South, this was in the South, and my two coworkers, they'd never heard it.
Yeah,
they never heard that, and I recognized why they didn't, And not only that, in some areas where our ancestors lived, they might not have had that either. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I know some of my friends, their people came from New York or Ohio, some of those other places, but that possibly might not have been. But I know it was strictly a Southern soap powder.
Yeah. And tell me, Tanook, do you believe the world needs to hear more Black women share their stories, and why?
I feel that the world needs to hear our stories, and the reason why is because we can educate others about who we really are. We can also possibly help with solutions for peace.
Yes.
And sharing our experiences and the movements that we have experienced here in America could be shared with others to let them know how we have survived.
Yes, exactly.
And that would come into play in terms of how we as Black women have had to deal with racism in our lives, how the racism has affected us, has affected our families.
Yes.
and how the survival of overcoming this deep hatred for us because of who we are cannot be erased without everyone working together to make a change.
Absolutely, we need it.
Because and see, racism is an inbred behavior.
Yeah,
it's an inbred behavior, and it's hate, and you have to look. And I say to myself sometimes, wow, they must really have hate in their heart so deep.
Yeah, it's sad, but back to Black women writing and sharing their stories. I feel that the time is now for the change that we seek, and collectively together we can be the change that we seek, and to get more stories out there, right? To talk about our experience, to help people learn.
If we can get more stories out there, we can there's so many movements and organizations too that we can become involved with to help move make the movement move like we would like to see it go.
Absolutely.
Because eventually we do want it to be international. But right now here in America, we as Black women have to really bind and bound together collectively to make the change.
Absolutely. And action. This
Yes.
came together last June as a dream. And look how far
Okay.
we've come in a matter of months. So it's happening. Yeah. It's happening. And you're part of it. You're one of the founding members of Black Women Speaking Out. I just want to ask you one last question. As we conclude, Tanook, do you have any parting words that you'd like to share with our viewers?
I would like to let everyone know that stand tall, don't give up, love yourself, and work hard in making Christ the center of your life. Because with that comes and flows other blessings that you can receive, which will allow you to stand tall.
Absolutely. And with God, you can do anything.
Exactly.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, Tanook. It has been an honor to interview you and to feature you in the book, Black Women Speak. I am Giselle Shapiro. I'm super excited to share Tanook's story and 14 other stories in the book, Black Women Speak. It's time we tell our stories. Order your copy now on the website, www.blackwomenspeakthebook.com. And while you're at it, order another book for a sister that you care about, because she can definitely learn something. Tanook's story is incredible. So are the other stories in this book. Order your book now, blackwomenspeakthebook.com. And until next time, I want to thank you for watching Black Women Speak. Goodbye and God bless. Bye, Tanook. I love you.
Giselle, I have a question.
Yes.
Everybody could hear us?
Yes. Do you want them to hear us now?
No, were they?
Oh, let me end this. Hold on.